Have you ever had a full conversation with your spouse and walked away feeling unheard? Like you talked, they talked, but it just didn't seem to connect. We've learned throughout the years that talking isn't the same as feeling heard. We're getting right into episode number 9. This is the question we have for you and for each other. When do you feel the most unheard? It's a big question.
Yeah, that is.
That's a big question that we've got to answer because we've learned that marriage is mostly communication.
That's right.
Marriage is mostly talking. That's why we called this late night conversations. Not late night movie, not late night episodes, not late night whatever. Late night conversations because we've got to talk.
Yeah.
But something is on.
Something is on. I don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. Also, this is just you've got something plugged into your iPad.
Yes. My battery, because you can always count on me to never have anything charged.
But I kind of fronted you out because you've got your coffee placed in such a way that you can't see it on camera.
That's right.
So I'm sorry for fronting you out.
That's okay. I don't care. Also, one thing about me is I don't care.
So here we go. When do you feel most unheard? This is times we can feel unheard.
Yes.
When we're interrupted. When we're multitasking. When we're jumping to solutions.
Yeah.
Or when we're assuming that we already know what they mean.
That's right.
And I think on today's episode, we're really going to do some good, solid work.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to talk about things that apply to everyone, but also the things that we kind of lean towards struggling with the most in our communication with one another. Because the one thing I've learned personally you used to call me, you used to say I have a non-communicative spirit.
Yes. Yes.
But I actually was good at one part. I was good at listening. I just never said anything back.
That's right.
And I remember early years,
It's
she
hard
would
to
look
get
at
a
me.
response out of you sometimes. Even now, after 25 plus years, depending on what the topic of conversation is.
Oh, the harder the topic,
Yeah.
the more emotionally charged,
Yeah.
the less I'm going to just talk.
Yes. Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes, this is one of my things I have to work on, I might not talk for days about it.
Right.
When you're ready to talk right
then. Let's just get it all out on the table. Yep.
But when we're having these conversations, when we're talking, and you should be talking, married people, you've got to talk.
Yes.
It's like
Who knew that communicating was so difficult for a lot of people, a lot of couples, but just individual people, like in general. You know, it's communicating.
Healthy
And communicating effectively
There you go.
is difficult.
Yep.
You know, it's so difficult sometimes. And like you said, the more challenging the topic, the more challenging it is to communicate in a healthy way.
because
too.
someone like you, more bent your way and your personality, it's like, okay, we're going to talk about it now.
That's right.
And if it is a more emotionally charged topic, you might be louder, show more expressive emotions.
Are you fronting me out again? No.
Because I'm reserved, quiet, internal,
Yeah.
again, might not say anything. And so we're in this dynamic where
Right.
a lot of couples, most couples, you're going to have that opposites of some way. And in communication, it's probably the same way. God help you if you're both vocal. Here's something we've seen. And we're going to get to what we're going to talk about today, but this is important. When there are two vocal spouses, usually they view just vocalizing everything as healthy communication. And oftentimes it's actually probably a little more toxic than they even realize, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's not healthy. You got it off your chest, you got it out of your mouth,
Yes.
but you might have, because you just spit it out, you might have done more damage
right.
and not brought any resolve or healing or, understanding or hearing, as we're talking
You're
about being
acting
heard.
more out of an emotion, emotionally charged environment. You're, emotional about it. And so you're just flippantly saying things that, first of all, you don't mean. You're saying them out of anger. You're saying them out of frustration. And most of the time you regret a lot of reacting,
Yeah.
right there and then, versus someone like you who most of the time takes time to process things, process the situation, comes back and, reevaluates the topic. Now, the danger in that, though, is because sometimes too much distance is also as equally, dangerous.
So on the same playing field, and I just interrupted you, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about.
It's okay.
But I don't want to lose this thought because you mentioned my personality. So it's easy when both personalities that are vocal to say, "Man, they're crazy." What if both personalities? What if both personalities? We had a long weekend.
We did.
What if both personalities were like mine, where they might not ever talk?
Yeah,
that's equally unhealthy. I mean, it's just like you assume because they're never arguing that everything's okay. They might hate each other.
Right.
So thank God.
It's equally as unhealthy, I think.
And so we got to thank God sometimes that opposites do attract. And so that there are differences of the ways we do things, because I will rub off on you, you will rub off on me. Hopefully as the years progress, that continues to where it's a nice balance where I've learned to talk at the right time and not hold in everything. And you've learned to pull back some and listen more. And so it's this balance
and
where we're learning each other.
And not be so much of a reactor.
Yeah.
Because people with the reacting personality can really I have observed, can really do more damage to someone else than the person who just chooses to hold their tongue and, just wait for the proper moment to say what they have to say.
Yeah, because let's be honest, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will ever hurt me was a lie.
Yep.
That was a lie.
That's true.
Therapist offices are full of people that have been hurt simply by words. Some of them not by actual actions, but words that have been spoken over them, and it's dangerous. And we've got to get a hold of it. All right, let's get into this. Let's talk about conversating, talking.
Right.
Here's something we want to talk about: listening to fix instead of understanding. Listening to fix instead of understanding. You want to talk about that? Because I think there's one in here that I'm going to struggle with more, but you're a fixer. You're a self-proclaimed fixer. I'm a fixer-upper. I fix, like stuff.
Right.
You like to fix situations and problems.
And people.
And situations and people. So,
and that's
let's
one
talk
thing
about
that I realized over the years I can't do. Honestly, you cannot fix people. Right. So, let's just speak to that for just a second. So listening to understand versus listening to fix. When someone is listening to fix, they're looking for a point in the conversation where they can break in and find a solution. Well, the problem is sometimes people, when they're communicating, they're not looking for a solution. They don't want to hear your solution. They want you to just listen to them. But someone like me, with the personality traits that I have, I just want some resolve. I want to be able to bring a solution to this problem. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
And that's really hard for me to do if I'm put in a situation where I have to just, stay back, analyze the fact that this person does not need me to fix anything. They just need me to listen. And that right there is healthy communication.
I think that's more than healthy communication. I think you said a mouthful. The fix is simply listening oftentimes.
Yeah.
Like that is the fix. Sometimes people just need to be able to talk and have someone listen.
Yeah.
And that should be their spouse more than anyone else. So the fix is just listening.
Shut up. The fix is Be quiet.
Yeah.
Listen to the heart of the person. Listen to, what is their heart behind what they're saying. And you cannot figure that out if you are the one talking. So if you're the one talking, stop talking and just listen to the person. And then after that, then maybe you can come to some type of resolve or some type of solution, or, but even then, if not, if it doesn't, require that, then don't.
Yeah.
Then back off and don't say
Right.
anything.
Yep.
Like, I think also my children have been so gracious in, helping show me this as well, because a lot of times, children are just brutally honest with you. And sometimes in our communication with the kids even, they have said, Mom, I need you to just listen to me. I feel like you're not listening. And most of the time, what they're really trying to say is, they feel like I'm talking too much, and I'm not backing off to giving them a space to share their heart behind whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot, with growing and maturing over the years of just healthy communication. It's very, very important.
Yes, healthy. The key word is
So,
healthy. What about interrupting or finishing sentences? Interrupting or okay. So I think that everyone probably deals with this to a degree. I think it's just you're going to see that on this podcast as we're talking sometimes, and I think that one of the reasons why we do that is because there's a moment where we heard something and it's like, oh, this is what I want to add to that.
Right.
But we're more or less still interrupting, and that's going to leave the other person feeling unheard.
Right.
Once again.
Yes.
Finishing sentences,
Yes.
like.
And I think that honestly, both of us have that,
Yeah.
issue. We either are talking about something and we're so excited to share what we have to say. And like you said, before we lose the thought, we're just trying to break in real quick and say our part of the conversation.
I do that. And I'm a preacher. So here's what's difficult for me sometimes. As a preacher, I have to carry a sermon for 30 minutes all by myself. No one else speaking. And so to get on this podcast with my wife and realize this is us doing this together.
Yeah.
This is not me preaching. That's a skill in and of itself that I'm constantly learning, and this setting helps me to learn that because it causes me to just take a turn. That means it's a basic, thing we learn in elementary. Take turns. Like, let them finish their sentence. They were talking. Let them have the floor. It's almost like we have to have an imaginary invisible mic. And the speakers only work when someone has that mic, and you've got to give them the mic and not take it away from them.
Right.
Until they're done.
Yeah.
And because honestly, the thing that we wanted to interrupt with probably could have waited.
Yeah.
I
think, too, sometimes, so with that, the awesome, the way we fit together so well is I just have learned to allow you the space to do that, to finish your thought, to break in and add value. Although sometimes it does irritate me when you do that, but that's okay. But I have learned to just let him finish, which is sometimes can be hard too.
I'm smiling because you said we fit together so well.
We do fit together very well. We've grown a lot.
We have.
And then there are people who just want to hear themselves talk.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You can't be quiet because you just like hearing yourself talk.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I mean, that's true.
That is true.
And
some people need to work on that.
Yes.
Do you think either of us have? I don't think either of us have that problem.
No, I don't think so.
I guess we have to ask someone else.
I think we've learned to allow, like I said before, give each other the space to talk.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I do get irritated about sometimes is that when I'm talking, sometimes this is in our relationship, okay? So now we're going to shift a little bit and go more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when I'm talking, because of the multitasking atmosphere that we're always on the go. We're always on the rush. We're always doing something. But when I am trying to communicate like a story or something like that, Caleb will sometimes, he'll be listening for about 5 seconds and then he'll turn around and walk off and do something, and most of the time it's something that needs to be done. And he's not being rude. In his mind, he's listening and he's doing something to get something done at the same time. But for a while, I didn't say anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how do I communicate that is really irritating me that he does that?
This. Yep.
And so finally
this was in the past year or two.
Yeah.
That you actually said something about it.
And so finally I got the strength and the courage to be like, okay, so this is what's bothering me. The moment that I want to have a conversation, whether it's in the kitchen or something like that, I feel like I'm unheard because you decide to walk off in the middle of my sentence or in the middle of my conversation. And I finally asked you, like, do you not care about what I'm saying? Is it the topic that, maybe it's the topic you don't want to hear about or that's bothering you or something like that? And it wasn't that at all. It was just the fact that he was also trying to multitask and get things done in the middle of me talking.
I was still listening with my ear.
Yes, you told me you were still listening to what
I was saying. The problem is everything about me was telling you he's not listening at all, or he doesn't care not one bit.
Yeah.
And so being distracted is a huge problem in today's world because there are so many distractions. I myself, I'm a multitasker. I can do 100 things at one time.
You're so good at that.
It's just kind of how I'm built, right? And so I have to be careful that doesn't become more of a burden than a blessing in communication, because communication takes listening, intentionality,
and eye contact,
hearing, and body language. It's all the things.
Where all the things are working together in communicating with one another. So,
and here's the thing. First of all, this phone that I'm holding in my hand, it's a very powerful tool. Like, I don't think we realize how much power this has. And I'm not talking about negative. I'm just talking about in general. There's a lot of power we hold in our hands with this phone.
Yeah.
Which means, this isn't this, but I think we should talk about this just for a second. Let's just insert this.
Yeah.
Because we have parents probably listening. Stop giving your kids this phone too early in life.
That's right. Kindergartners do not need a phone. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
And we don't understand what we're doing to our children by giving them something so powerful. There's adults that can't handle this, and we give undeveloped, immature children access to the entire world.
That's right. And they're not ready for it.
And they're not ready. And it's something that we have to do better at. Our kind of rule was middle school. I mean, we didn't even want to give it to them then, but we would prefer to wait till high school.
Grade.
But middle school, we waited for the phone. And then late high school, we've waited for social media.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that any of our children have had social media before they were 17 years old. And so parents, they will survive. They will be okay. And you will be disliked for it.
Yes, you will.
But your children, listen, because once again, there's adults that cannot handle social media.
Right.
And we're giving it to teenagers who are just going through the most change that they'll ever go through in their life, emotionally,
Right.
physically, with all these different things. And it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Parents, take our advice, do it. But we're talking about being distracted.
That's right. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode. We'll probably do
Yeah,
that.
we can do that. Yeah.
But being distracted, I work a lot on my phone. I'm constantly working on my phone. I don't view it necessarily as entertainment.
Yeah.
I pay bills, emails, all the social media management, all the content creating, text messaging, phone calls, research. I do most of it from my phone, not from my iPad or my computer.
Right.
And so I have to be careful that I make sure this is not becoming the biggest distraction for communication. And I have to learn to put it down when we're having conversations that require me putting it down.
I think, too, we could also be distracted with our own thoughts.
Yeah.
How many times have you had a conversation with someone, your spouse or even your kids or even a friend, and you're looking at them, you're observing that they're talking, but your own thoughts have you so busy that you are not really focusing on anything that they're saying. You hear them talking, you see them talking, but you have checked out mentally. Like you're on tomorrow's to-do list already. And that's not being like that. I don't feel like we do that on purpose. I think that it's just the culture of the hurry, the rush, that I gotta do. I gotta, I got stuff to handle. Like, we do not take time out just to sit down, to calm our thoughts, to look someone intentionally in the face, in the eye, and actually engage in a healthy conversation. Think about it. The next time that, you're talking with your spouse or your child, how many times have one of the kids said, "Are you listening?" Like, "Are you listening?" Yes, I'm listening. Like, I can hear you talking, but my mind is somewhere else, and so I'm not really able to process, what
And
you're saying.
And because the world is so digital, back to the phone and some of this before we move on, it's one thing to text your spouse, "I love you." It's one thing to end your phone call. I've noticed this about all of our kids also. Almost every phone call is ended with, "I love you." It's just kind of what we've created.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to make a social media post about how much you love your spouse. It's a total different thing to look that physical human being in the eye, face to face, no distractions, and say, "I love you." It's what we were created for. And so I'm not against all those other things.
Yeah.
Because, we love to play around through text messaging, flirt, through text messaging, but do it face to face.
Sometimes it can just be so mundane and a routine that it just comes off. It just rolls off the tongue, which great. But man, you want to be emotionally invested in that person too. So if you can just take, 5 or 10 minutes just to, look at your spouse face to face, truly engage with them, and tell them that you love them.
Yeah.
I think it's more emotionally felt and received at that time.
For sure.
So,
The last one, as we're closing here, defensiveness. Instead of hearing, we're preparing our response. And I think this one's huge. And I think,
Yes.
again, this is one that most people deal with regardless.
this is so good. The defensiveness one, that's really good.
It's kind of just human nature.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the reality. None of us want to be wrong.
Right.
None of us want to, be the one that is being told, "Hey, can we have a conversation? You made me feel this way." Or "You did this to me," whether you knew it or not intentionally. No one wants to be the one on the other side of that. And so oftentimes what we're doing is, instead of listening and instead of hearing, we're just preparing our response. And if you're someone like me, I'm preparing a I'm preparing a legal statement against you. Because
Yeah.
Because I am like an attorney preparing my case.
Yeah.
Because I'm listening and I'm gathering all the evidence that I need to make sure I was right.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not responsible in this situation or whatever it could be. And so the other thing about that is that defensiveness can be seen in that body language also. And so we've got to just learn to relax and understand that words are powerful, but they're necessary. And we've got to use them correctly. We cannot keep using them to hurt people, to tear each other down. We've got to use them. And so just learning how to communicate effectively and in a healthy way will go a long way in not just the longevity of your marriage, but the overall health and enjoyment.
And I think too, speaking of defensiveness in your marriage, I think that when you're on the defense mode, you're feeling personally attacked. You're not listening to really hear out the other person, but you're listening, but then you're on the automatic like, well, I must be someone totally worthless now, because this person is telling me that maybe they had a conflict with you or something like that. Well, you're taking it completely personal, and they're just trying to share their heart on the situation. And so I think that also plays a big part in being on the defense.
Emotional maturity. I think more than likely the root there is some emotional immaturity.
Right.
And we've got to mature emotionally to the point to where we can have conversations that we might not see eye to eye on, and they don't become arguments, blow up fights, not speaking to each other for a day, a week, sleeping in different beds. I mean, those things are so toxic and unhealthy, and they get you nowhere, because where are you going to end up? You're going to end up back in the bed. You're going to end up back talking to each other. So if we learn the right tools and way to communicate effectively, then we'll spend a whole lot more time together, happy, healthy, growing, loving, learning, living, versus just chaos and all the other stuff that sometimes people end up in.
Yeah.
Here's the last thing.
I think that one of the key things is we can just be intentional about listening to hear the other person.
That's right.
To hear the other person. So maybe a good tool would be asking your spouse this week, when you've had a conversation face to face, did you feel heard in what I was, and what we were, what you were saying?
Talking,
Yeah.
Feeling heard.
Feeling heard.
Isn't about how much you say. It's about how safe someone feels sharing it.
Yes.
That is what we want. We should be a safe space for each other.
That's right.
To share whatever it is we are feeling, we are experiencing, not just with each other, but outside of the relationship. And when we get to that point, there is such beauty and power in that relationship.
And you're more apt to communicate again.
Yep. It gets easier.
It does.
It gets easier. Once you start opening up, it gets easier instead of harder. And it's a beautiful thing to see people do what we are created to do. Talk.
That's right.
Communicate.
Yes.
Conversate.
Like we did today. And we want you to do the same thing with your spouse. And listen, we've enjoyed our time with you today. And if you can, do us a favor and subscribe, like, and share this with someone who you think it would totally speak to. We enjoyed our time today, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.